The Trine Thunder football team has gotten off to a 2-0 start. Coach Abbs, what do you like about your squad so far this season?
I think we showed toughness, and I think that we have played really hard. Our discipline needs to improve a little bit as far as doing what has to be done, when it has to be done, and doing that way all the time. That's something that's a work in progress, and we hope to see some improvement in that against Concordia.
Well, you had a lot of highlights in the game against Bluffton, so let's talk a little bit about those. We know Dylan Dowling has been off to a great start. Interesting, when I look at the roster, he's actually listed as a tight end. What's the story behind that?
Well, he's moved from position to position and really slipped in neatly to the running back position. Has done a great job. He runs hard, and he's a large man, so anytime he gets tackled and falls forward, it's another 2-3 yards. So he's done a great job. Works very, very hard at learning a new position, and been very pleased with his efforts.
I like Zane Kirby too. I watched the webcast Saturday, and that little guy is hard to take down. I thought he had a good game too. What about you?
Yeah, Zane's very strong.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a kid that spent a lot of time in the weight room and came in and is an excellent student of the game. So he was able to catch on to our offenses and our offensive nuances and verbiage. When freshmen come in, they really have to learn a new language. It's kind of like learning French or Spanish. What their high school coach called power,
right.
We call something else. So guys that come in have to learn a lot, and until they can think in that foreign language, they really have a difficult time playing as fast as they possibly can.
Your quarterback, Brandon Winters, had another solid game, both running the football and in passing it. He's shown some dual threat capability so far, hasn't he?
He has, and he's a very mobile quarterback. Right. We just in the first two games that the opposing defenses haven't required us to use him as
right.
a run threat as much. So just with this season is a marathon; it's not a sprint. Trying to keep as many people healthy as possible, and that's one of the reasons why we brought in the young freshman Price in the goal line to run the ball in a few times, and he did a great job and picked up his first collegiate touchdown.
I think he was pretty excited about that.
No question.
Coach Simeon Washington, we talked about him last week, but again, 10 tackles, I think he had 3 sacks in the game, MIAA Defensive Player of the Week. He just keeps responding to every challenge so far this season.
He's done a great job, and he's continued to improve as a football player every single year that he's been with us. But I'm more proud of the improvements that he's made off the field as a student and as a person. I mean, he's a leader in every sense of the word. Leads by example. He's very vocal, and he's really the heart of our football team.
Yeah, he's played extremely well. Looking at Concordia, Wisconsin, their running back Matt Montgomery, he's averaging over 9 yards per carry. He's put the ball in the end zone multiple times. This is a team that can run the football through the first 2 weeks. They've run the ball pretty well. Defensively, what are you looking at as you get ready to face Concordia, Wisconsin?
Well, we talked about some of the lack of discipline in the first 2 games. We've got to make sure that we see only what we're supposed to see. We've got to make sure that we fit exactly where we fit. Their passing game sets up their run game. The run game sets up their passing game. They haven't had to throw it a whole lot, but they utilize a run-pass option attack. So it'll look like a run, and all of a sudden they're throwing it. So we've got to be disciplined. It's a scheme that literally spreads you out very thin because everyone has a job to do, and they've got to do it. And the added layers of support that you have against a traditional offense aren't really there. So that scheme sets up the big play. But if we play with great eye discipline and we play physical, we should be able to contain the run.
Their receiver, Tanner Hill, has 9 catches, a couple of touchdowns too. Not to give anything away to Concordia, but what's your plan just to deal with a receiver who's a good threat on the outside like that?
When it comes down to it, all great defenses and all great teams stop the run.
Right.
All right, so we feel like we've got talent at different spots in our defensive backfield, and through a combination of man concepts, zone concepts, and bracket concepts, we hope to slow them down.
Slow them down a little bit.
Yep.
You get to play at home this week. 2 weeks on the road. I know every coach has a different philosophy. Some coaches like to start out on the road because it forces that teamwork aspect and kind of that bonding. But it's got to feel good to have a home game this weekend.
Oh, it's great. It's great for the guys to roll out of bed and go get breakfast a little bit later in the day. So hopefully they have a little bit more energy during the second half. It's great to dress in our own locker room. It's great to avoid sitting in a bus for 2 hours to an hour and a half before the game. So we're excited, and we have amazing fan support. We've been in the top 10 in Division III attendance for a long time, and we know that'll continue.
Watching the web broadcasts of the first two games, that's a great point that you bring out. The stands are packed on the Trine side. For the players and coaches, that has to be really exciting and gratifying to see that support on the road.
There's no doubt about that. And there have been very few games over the years where we haven't had more fans supporting us than the home team. And I think that's a huge advantage, and it's one that we're very proud of.
I've always wondered how coaches at your level compartmentalize, and I know you're good at this, but I think for the average mortal, you'd be sitting there this week saying, wow, we play Hope next week. That's like the biggest game, one of the biggest games of our season. Mm-hmm. Concordia, Wisconsin is a good team, but not a rival. How do you keep the attention of your team and your kids on the task at hand this week, and so that they don't look ahead to the Hope game next week?
The Hope games, the bye week in between there helps out a lot.
Right.
But it's just, I think this group is used to one game at a time. Mm-hmm. There aren't any Hope videos up in the on the televisions or on the screens when the kids walk into our offices. There aren't any. It's all about now and living in the now and really concentrating on the next play. I think that's how we've got to play, and it really doesn't matter what color the jerseys are. It matters that we do the right thing, and as long as we do that, it doesn't matter who's playing.
Coach Abbs and the Trine Thunder, home finally, 1 o'clock,
right.
Out here at the Trine University campus. Do you have a home game ritual, like a special breakfast that you have before the game or anything like that?
I absolutely do. I have two of just about everything they have up there because I know that it's going to be the last meal that I eat until about 7 o'clock that night by the time we're done with everything. But we use the same script that we've used for, more than a decade. So our alumni that come back to watch us could probably tell you exactly what we're doing by looking at their watch. We haven't deviated from that. Not a big pregame guy.
Right.
I don't like wasted energy, and I think a lot of teams that do a ton of stuff during pregame actually, it's like them having a practice before the game. I don't like to waste energy. So our pregame is very short, quick, to the point. Make sure everybody's ready to go. Make sure everybody's present, and get the blood flowing a little bit, and it's time to go.
Battle of two undefeated teams. Saturday, 1 o'clock. It's the Trine Thunder against Concordia, Wisconsin. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, man.